afternoon to you and welcome to First Financial Biz Beat presented by the Business Courier. I'm Kyla Woods. Well, most of us know or at least have a pretty good idea which Cincinnati CEOs make the most money, but only the Courier digs a little deeper into the numbers and finds out who delivers the best bang for the buck. Here's how the scoring works. CEOs are ranked by performance and pay. Then their performance rank is subtracted from their pay rank for their final score. The highest score is the CEO who provides shareholders with the biggest bang for the buck. Cintas stock jumped 23% in fiscal year 2019, but CEO Scott Farmer took a pay cut. That combination of high performance and lower pay is why he's atop this year's bang for the buck rankings. Courier reporter Steve Watkins is the man behind all the math. He broke down the numbers with Courier editor Rob Dahlmeyer.
Steve, thanks so much for being here remotely.
Glad to do it.
Talking about your covered package this week on CEO pay, why did Scott Farmer from Cintas rank at the top of the list?
There's a few factors that went into it. First of all, we can look at the performance of Cintas and keep in mind this is fiscal 2019, which for them ends in May, so that ended a little more than a year ago. Their stock performance was terrific. They gained 23%, and that was a period when the S&P 500 only rose 4%, so tremendous outperformance. Our other metrics for performance of a company are return on equity and net income growth. They were really strong there. In fact, combined, all those factors made Cintas the best performing company among all the local public companies. So that's for starters. On top of that, Scott Farmer actually, despite all that performance, took a pay cut of about 12%. So it wasn't because their performance was bad. Cintas uses different metrics for that, sales growth and EPS, earnings per share. But Cintas beat their targets last year, but not by as much as the previous year. So his pay was still pretty high, $8.6 million, nothing to sneeze at,
No.
But it wasn't quite as high. So his pay ranked 13th among the 20 local companies. You put those two together, great performance, great bang for the buck for shareholders, as we like to say.
Yeah. August Trendle, for the last 2 years previous to Farmer, August Trendle from MedPace was the highest bang for buck CEO in Cincinnati, which is pretty rare. Frankly, you've been doing this for years, and I can't remember the last time somebody had won 2 years in a row. And for a while there, we were thinking that it was possible for him to win a third time. But how did he fare this time around?
Well, he did great for himself and pretty well for shareholders, too. He finally got the raise he has long been looking for. He was not shy the last couple of years about saying he really deserved a raise. MedPace had been the best performing company or among the top 2 or 3 the last few years, yet his pay kept going down, oddly enough. And he said a lot of it was because they had a private equity owner that didn't tie pay to performance. This past year, MedPace was the second best performing company. So again, they had a good chance to be up there, except August Trendle got a 1,360% raise from a little over $500,000 to more than $7 million. So he's happy. Shareholders are happy they had a good performance.
Right. So as I said, you've been doing this bang for the buck study for years and years for the Courier, which is, I absolutely love it. I think it's really important information. Did you notice any trends this year in CEO pay, or this time, I should say, in CEO pay that maybe you haven't seen quite as much of in the past?
Yeah, there were a few things. Well, for starters, we should get out of the way some that didn't change much. David Taylor of Procter & Gamble's the highest paid. Actually, WorldPay's CEO was higher the previous year. WorldPay got bought out. David Taylor made $20 million. Not surprising. They're the biggest company by market cap, and he is at the top. But yeah, a couple of things. Pay for performance. Boards tying pay very directly to performance keeps improving, and that shows up in things like the amount of stock, incentive stock pay that they're giving CEOs. They're tying it to a lot of these metrics like we talked about with Cintas. So that's a definite trend. One of the other things, CEOs locally averaged a 17.5% pay increase. That's pretty huge.
Wow.
Nationally, the average was more like 4%. But CEOs are definitely tying it, or boards are tying CEO pay more to performance. Pay is still way out of whack compared to average employee pay, though.
Gotcha. Last question for you, but it's an important one because of what we're all dealing with right now. How will COVID-19 affect pay for CEOs this year?
It's going to have a big effect. What happens is, we talked about tying pay to performance. Boards set these performance targets. Typically, for a company with a fiscal year that matches the calendar year, they set them around February, which would be right before all the COVID-19 stuff started becoming a widespread issue, and everything shut down. Companies, for the most part, are going to find it impossible to meet those targets.
Right.
Shane Starkey from Thompson Hine, who's a executive compensation pay expert, told me a lot of companies are probably going to reset those targets later in the year. For now, they're taking a wait and see approach because nobody knows how the rest of the year is going to play out. He said those targets will be reset, but on the other hand, pay will almost certainly go down because it doesn't look good to have pay increases if you've laid off people or your stock has gone down, which has happened.
Right. Well, this is great information. I look forward to it every year. I know a ton of our readers do as well. Steve, thank you so much for being here. And everybody check out his project that is in the most current issue of the Courier. And Kyla, back to you.
Thanks so much, guys. And later in this broadcast, we'll show you the highest paid CEOs after David Taylor. And switching gears now, baseball is back. 3 words that a whole lot of people have been waiting months to hear. Players report to spring training on Wednesday. The 60-game season kicks off in late July, and the deal comes after months of bitter negotiations that took a toll on players.
These negotiations and all of this stuff, it's been tough. It's been really frustrating. It's been really stressful. It's been about every emotion that you could really think of. When it all started for me being the player rep, I went into it thinking that if in the event I have to ask guys to make a decision, or if I have to make the decision as the rep for our team, I'm asking guys either A, to risk their lives and the well-being of their families, or I'm going to cost guys millions of dollars.
And there's a whole slew of changes for both fans and players. The biggest one, no fans in the stands. As for players, you won't see any high fives or hugs, no spitting, and players will be tested every other day. The Reds' spring training will be at both Great American Ballpark and the Prasco and Legacy Fields in Mason. Well, coronavirus cases are spiking again in Hamilton County, leading to some of the area's most popular bars and restaurants to close down temporarily. Revel Urban Winery shut down after an employee tested positive. Queen City Radio is back to doing only to-go services, and Woodburn Brewery is closed for the time being. Same with all the restaurants owned by Queen City Hospitality Group, which includes popular spots Senate and Pontiac Barbecue. Chef Daniel Wright says everyone will be tested preemptively and will be doing it often. Ryan Guys did the same thing after a family member of an employee got the virus, and that led to everyone who works with that employee getting tested. 2 of them came back positive. Ryan Guys shut down for a couple of days and deep cleaned the entire brewery. Well, some protests over police brutality that turned violent last month cost businesses $275,000. Those businesses are getting some help. First Financial Bank, along with 3CDC and Downtown Cincinnati, Inc., are pitching in $50,000 to repair storefronts of about 40 businesses. And the FreeStore Food Bank is expanding its mission with a goal of building a major distribution center in Wilder. It's part of the Beyond Hunger campaign. The distribution center would expand storage for healthy meals and also serve as a workforce training facility. The hope is to break ground within the next year.
One thing that the pandemic has, if it's a silver lining of any case, we have been able to shed a light and shine a bright light on the faces of hunger. It's our neighbors. It's the families in our community. It's people helping people, neighbors helping neighbors.
And the FreeStore will need about $30 million to do so. It's already got $20 million from P&G, Western and Southern, and the Farmer Family Foundation. Well, if democracy is supposed to be noisy, what happened at Cincinnati City Council this week did not disappoint. Several protesters were escorted out, and council members bickered with the mayor about it. But we did get a new budget that adds millions for affordable housing and fully funds the Citizen Complaint Authority. It does not take any money away from the police department, as protesters had demanded. Funding stays at the same level as last year. It also revives the streetcar, though Mayor John Cranley vetoed that, setting up a potential showdown coming up in August. GE is laying out more details of its local layoffs. In May, the company announced plans to slash 25% of its global workforce due to the impact of the coronavirus on the aviation industry. GE Aviation in Evendale has already let 400 employees go since March. 208 more will be terminated next month. Well, still to come on First Financial Biz Beat, sugar and spice and everything nice. An exclusive first look inside the new iteration of an iconic Cincinnati restaurant. And congratulations to Denisha Porter, the director of All In Cincinnati for the Greater Cincinnati Foundation, is another one of our 40 Under 40 honorees. Former Cincinnati City Council member Tamaya Denard is pleading guilty to wire fraud. Denard was arrested in February after being accused of taking $15,000 in exchange for her votes on the bank's music venue project. She resigned from City Council shortly after that. She could get up to 20 years in prison, and she will have to pay back the money. And you'll no longer see Marge Schatz's name at the University of Cincinnati. Trustees voted unanimously to strip the name from the baseball stadium and a space in the archives library. Former baseball player Jordan Ramey spearheaded the movement over concerns about Schatz's long history of racist actions and remarks.
It's not just me, right? It's not just me. It's just the future players that's going to be playing there who know the history of that stadium. Like, okay, I'm proud to play in a stadium who represents me. Right, I get to represent myself now, and I get to represent my team. Right, and when you do that through that lens, it's going to be beautiful for the future of the game.
And if you've ever been on turf during a hot day, you know it's extra hot on the field. A Cincinnati man found a way to cool it down.
It uses the power of evaporative cooling and holds moisture, which it harvests from rain, irrigation, dew, so forth. And it uses that moisture in a very controlled fashion to sustain evaporative cooling over a long period of time. And much like sweat or like large bodies of water help cool the earth.
And Chris Tatro just landed his biggest installation yet. The Citadel is the first D1 football program to use the turf cooling technology. Tatro has also done an entire golf course in France and a whole bunch of lawns in the southwestern U.S. Cincinnati's renaissance is no longer a secret. Much of that success is owed to partnerships with organizations willing to help launch small businesses. Our next guest is one of those people. Joining Courier publisher Jamie Smith is Urban Sites CEO Greg Olson.
Greg, thanks for being my virtual guest today. We really appreciate you taking the time to come in and have this interview. Can you give kind of a brief description to our viewers of what Urban Sites does?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Jamie. Glad to be here. Urban Sites is a multifamily, mixed-use, residential, commercial, office, retail developer in Over the Rhine. We've been in Over the Rhine for 25 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so we do property management, construction services. We do mostly our own. We do quite a bit of third-party these days. We also do development and advisory services, too. So there are folks that may not be partners with us, but they come to us and ask for advice on how to bring deals together. So what I think of as Urban Sites and how Urban Sites sets itself apart is that we really look at our relationships. We have quite a few investors, and we are always looking for partnerships. We will partner with folks who have similar interests. We have a very long-term hold profile, and we have experience. So when we bring a business to, let's say, to a commercial or retail space, not only do we perform the construction work, but we help them make the right business decision, completely transparent. And a lot of times we become their partners. A lot of times we might even invest in their business. So we look at ourselves as mentors, as investors, as social media champions. We go to their businesses. We might even sit on some of their at some of their board meetings. We really are completely ingrained in this community. We do work in Covington, Over the Rhine, and Walnut Hills, and we really prefer the urban walkable communities. We love Cincinnati, and just recently we have partnered with CMHA, and we'll be doing some affordable housing projects with them. One on 12th Street that will be 66 units. So we're not only performing all the construction services, but we'll be their developer partner on that as well. And we see that as a neighborhood community focus. And that's what Urban Sites is.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, I think you and I have talked before about how important the OTR, the Pendleton areas downtown are so important to what Cincinnati's doing. So obviously having partnerships with organizations like yours are very important. Have you guys got anything major, any new projects going on or any plans in the works?
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for asking. So we are working on a very large project right now with the Art Academy of Cincinnati. They came to us about a property we own on Jackson Street immediately across the street. So we're basically creating a campus-like atmosphere for them. And it'll allow them to have anywhere between 85 and 110 students in that location. And what we really appreciate about the Art Academy is that this is a long-term partnership for us. We are working on this. We took us about 2 years to put the project together, and they're seeing tremendous results from the enrollment numbers that they normally don't start to see until mid-June, mid-July, but by the end of May, they were very close to having a record freshman incoming enrollment. So that's one of the big projects. We're working with another gentleman by the name of Richard Cook in the LGBTQ community. He's doing a project called E19. He calls it straight friendly, which really makes us laugh. It's such a clever way to approach his project. We were introduced to him by another partner of ours on another project, and they said, hey, we want you to get to know Richard. And just today we were on the phone with him, and he was talking about how much he appreciates the partnership because we have our own in-house architect, and so we can help them through historic conservation board hearings. We can help them through permitting, and we can help them find the nuances. See, we've been doing this for 25 years in Over the Rhine. We have 680 tenants, 450 units. So those are some of the big things we want.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I want to thank you for not only being on the show today, but for what you guys are doing to the community. As we both said, it's such an important part of Cincinnati right now and their trajectory. And just seeing what you guys have done, seeing the support you've given to your businesses and your tenants through these rough times we've had of the last few months with COVID has been great. So thank you so much for what you're doing. And thank you for being on the show today.
I appreciate the time. Have a good day.
All right. Have a great day.
All right.
In 2 weeks, a beloved Cincinnati restaurant opens its second location. And as you can see, everything we love about the original Sugar and Spice in Paddock Hills is also in the new spot in OTR. The vibrant colors are eye-catching, and you'll get the same menu featuring those amazing wispy thin pancakes and huge omelets. The owners say the old Joe's Diner was a perfect match.
You have an original 1950s diner car on the front, and then the rest of the space in terms of the size, the layout, it just fit.
And don't worry, kids will still get those rubber ducks just like at the original. Opening day is July 11th. Well, for the last several months, of course, you've been washing your hands more than ever before, and they've probably paid the price for that. That's where a local woman's line of skincare products can really come in handy. Joining us this morning is Lolita Perry, owner of Oasis Rayne. Lolita, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I appreciate you, Kyla. I appreciate everything that you're doing. The shout outs, local businesses are being put on front, and so I appreciate that.
Absolutely. We're thrilled to have you. And of course, all natural products, that's what you're focusing on, and they do help retain moisture. And those are especially crucial for us right now as we're washing our hands and we're sanitizing everything in abundance. So tell us about the Oasis Rayne Anti-Everything Spray and the All Over Oil.
Okay, so in my hand we have that Oasis Rayne anti-everything spray. Now this is a food-grade product, so this will not dry out your hands. It is 99.9% effective by way of ethyl alcohol. We actually use 200 proof, non-denatured. So it's the highest grade, food-grade alcohol, period. We also use conditioners and essential oils. Now the essential oils, what they do is they provide an extra layer of protection. The essential oils are particularly picked out for their antiviral, antimicrobial, antibacterial properties. So that's the anti-everything, and it comes in lime and bergamot and cinnamon bark and sweet orange.
Sounds really amazing, and I have both. I have the anti-everything and I have the essential oils, the all-over oil. And you made these products specifically all natural so that they don't irritate your skin, and they help treat skin conditions such as eczema, which I actually have that on my hands as well. So what are some of the other healing properties that people will find in your items?
Well, again, I'm a licensed massage therapist, and so the reason it came about was because I used the oils to practice my massage. And my clients, I had great reviews. My clients were coming back and saying, hey, what are you putting on my skin? It's helping my eczema. It's helping my dry skin. I have this phenomenal glow. What is it? And it's carrier oils and essential oils. There's no fragrance oils, so it helps with things like psoriasis, eczema, dry skin. Those are most of the common ailments that you'll find. Let me see. With the all-over oil, here it is right here with the all-over oil. So, yeah, that's the Oasis Rayne all-over oil right there.
Sounds really great, Lolitha. Really quick before we go, tell us where we can find Oasis Rayne in person and online.
Oasis Rayne can be bought online at oasisrayne.com, or you can check it out at 2908 Short Vine here at Paws. And also, we are setting up locations at barbershops. So those will be announced via my Facebook page or Instagram page, Shop Oasis Rayne, and Oasis Rayne on Facebook.
Perfect. Lolitha Perry, thank you for joining us. We can't wait to see more from Oasis Rayne. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having us. Have a great day.
And thank you for joining us for First Financial Biz Beat. I'm Kyla Woods. Hope you have a great weekend.